You're listening to the Last Man In podcast. Covering Winnipeg hockey and the NHL.
Scheifele dances his way in. Scheifele scores! Mike Wheeler finds the far corner. And the Winnipeg Jets win it in overtime. Woo, woo, woo.
PK Subban is going off to the Stanley Cup Final. The Sweden national team beats Canada to capture World Championship gold, and the Ottawa Senators and Pittsburgh Penguins series could not get any more boring. Welcome back to Last Minute Podcast, episode 146, here with Dan, Cam, and myself, Greg. Lots to talk about, obviously, but probably the biggest story and the thing I want to focus on first is the Nashville Predators beat the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games to go to their first ever Stanley Cup Final and in franchise history, and really just put probably one of the best hockey cities on notice for sports. And it's been a wild ride so far, but obviously 6 games, I predicted it, just putting that one out there, and Cam predicted it to be Nashville and 6.
And then I don't know how our stats rule works.
Well, whatever,
so
we'll figure it out.
I don't got it. I got it now.
Our system it just doesn't make sense.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. But
Okay,
why would anything to do with this show make sense?
Doesn't make sense.
Let's just read off some fun stats here real quick. Peter Laviolette is now the first USA-born coach to lead 3 different teams to the NHL final. And when asked about it, they were like, "Oh, what does that mean to you?" And he's like, "Oh, it probably means I got fired a lot."
It's true.
Oh, just for you Caps fans, just in case you weren't aware, former Caps draft pick Philip Forsberg has more conference final goals than the entire Capitals franchise in the Ovechkin era.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Did I say it last week? The whole Martin Erat, Philip Forsberg thing?
Oh, it's horrendous. Oh,
That's
actually, you
not
know
very
what?
hard. They haven't made the conference.
Speaking
final
of
yet.
that, Arctic Ice Hockey, so the SB Nation blog
the
for the
Jets.
Jets, they tweeted out last night, just stay with me here, Victor Arvidsson drafted in round 4. Ryan Johansson acquired in a trade. Forsberg, trade. Roman Josi, drafted round 2. Mike Fisher, trade. James Neal, trade. Calle Jarnkrok, trade. Matthias Ekholm, round 4. Mm-hmm. Not one first-round draft pick, and they were all acquired via draft or trade.
Not one first round pick that was theirs.
And they also
They have
didn't,
first round picks.
Yeah, Rigel.
and they also didn't.
And a few. And
Was
Forsberg.
PK first round pick?
I think he was
No,
second.
he was second round pick.
Second round.
Yeah. But when you look at that team, obviously, that's what a good GM does. He finds guys, and that's when you get the most bang for your buck. You look at Roman Josi's contract, and I know I've talked about it before, but he's only making $4 million, and he's one of the best defensemen in the league. And it's just getting the right value. Like, obviously, somebody made the joke. They said Shea Weber, Ryan Suter, and Seth Jones walk in a bar to watch the Nashville Predators play for the Stanley Cup. Think about that for a second.
Say this one more time.
Seth Jones,
Yeah.
Shea Weber, Ryan Suter walk into a bar to watch the Nashville Predators play for the Stanley Cup Final. That is 3 perennial defensemen all on that team. And what have we talked about? All playoffs? How elite that defense core is. And that's still without Ryan Suter, Seth Jones, and Shea Weber. Now, granted, Shea Weber traded and Seth Jones traded and Ryan Suter basically walked for nothing, but they're not going to pay him for that much money, even though that he would have been great.
But to be fair, they got PK Subban for Shea Weber.
And Ryan Johansson, which unfortunately he's out for the playoffs, and a lot of people were wondering how that would affect the team. And the guy that stepped up in his place, and there's been no Mike Fisher as well as he got cut right around the eye, and I guess they're just not going to bring him back too soon for whatever reason. Colton Sissons, who had a hat trick last night and has just basically stepped in as the role as the number 2 center on the team and basically took the team on his back last night.
Well,
is
I was
the
looking
storyline.
into how Ryan Johansson got his injury, and they said it was. Hold on, I want to make sure I get the right wording. They said, as Dan mentioned earlier, acute compartment syndrome, which you normally needs emergency surgery, and he's out for playoffs. Why would you need emergency surgery for that? Is it because all the blood somewhere without circulating?
The best way I can describe that is that you have all your muscles in your thigh, well, in your leg, but in your thigh in particular, you have four really big muscles right here in your quadricep. That is your quadricep is actually 4 separate muscles.
That's why it's a quadricep.
Science alert.
Yeah. So learn that from
But there's some tissue that goes over top of your muscles that kind of holds everything in place. So the best analogy, you know how like on a sausage there's like the casing that goes over the meat that holds the meat in the sausage?
Yep.
That's basically what that layer of tissue is. It's like the casing.
Okay.
And basically you rip that open.
Oh, so his muscles were going everywhere.
Wow, not everywhere.
And it can really affect him like long term.
But you need surgery to repair it. That's the only way. So he's done. He's done.
He's done.
Yeah, because like the hit itself didn't look bad. I forget who hit him, but they figured out which hit it was, and I was like, that didn't look bad at all. But you didn't see him after that.
Sometimes
like,
it's not even. Sometimes it's just like an overuse over time.
Yeah. Oh,
But-
Nashville is the first ever 16 seed to reach the Stanley Cup Final. If we're using the old rules.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were the last team to make playoffs. Not necessarily with the least amount of points, but last team to make it, making them 16th seed.
That means they would have the least amount of points.
Oh,
16
well,
seed.
then there you go. There's now 4 teams left in the entire NHL as a franchise who have never reached the Stanley Cup Final.
Can I guess?
Yeah, and I'll
Can I-
say yes or no.
Okay.
Go.
Well, Winnipeg Jets, Atlanta Thrashers.
Correct.
Minnesota Wild.
No.
Yeah, they haven't made it to the final.
They've never made it to the final. Minnesota North Stars.
Oh, that's something. Yeah.
Minnesota
yes,
Wild.
correct. Minnesota Wild.
Just think expansion.
Well, Arizona Coyotes have never made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Correct.
Yeah. Expansion.
Who's the other? Florida? No, Florida's been there.
Dan's got it right. Dan, you can guess too, by the way.
Oh, Columbus.
Yeah,
Oh, Columbus, yeah.
that's 4.
Yeah, it wasn't only supposed to be me, Dan. You're supposed to help.
Well, here's another. Well, I mean, if
And
you realize-
ironically, the only team that has how do I want to phrase this? Every team has made the Stanley Cup final since the Leafs last made it, except for those 4 teams.
I know.
Well, yeah, I guess because
the Leafs last time
they're
was
all
1967.
expansion compared to
Yeah. Was that the last time they were in the final?
That was the last time they were in the final. It was
Which was when?
1967. The last time they won.
Oh, but they were in a conference final before.
They've been in 3 conference finals, I believe, but one of them was 1993 against the
What's the
LA
Gilmore
Kings.
fucking
That was the LA Kings
Gretzky
one.
one?
That was 1993. And then the LA Kings went on to lose to the Montreal Canadiens, but everyone was gearing up for Toronto-Montreal Stanley Cup final, which last time Toronto, little did you know, last time Toronto won the Stanley Cup was against Montreal.
That'd be a
The more you know.
sweet final.
Not now.
I don't know if you guys believe in foreshadowing, but in 2006, when Peter Laviolette was coaching Carolina, when they won the East, they didn't touch the trophy. They won the cup. When he was coaching Philly in 2010 and they won the East, they picked it up. They lost the final.
Yeah, because Mike Richards is a captain insano.
They didn't touch the trophy this time.
No. And Crosby
Always
if
touches.
But if
Always
if,
touches.
if Pittsburgh wins tonight, in 2008 when they went the first time, they didn't touch it, they lost. 2009 they touched, they won. Last year, 2016, when they won, they touched it. So if they win tonight against Ottawa,
they're touching
it.
Crosby always
And-
touches it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what
I remember
happens.
I was watching last year,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Don't touch it, don't touch it," and
No.
he touched it. And I'm like, "No!" I just like
there was a video out after like CBC Hockey Night in Canada. They always do a video montage at the end of the playoffs, and they have the sounds of that right before they're about to like go to it, and you hear Sid saying, "Guys, we touch it. We always touch it," and then you hear Kessel in the background just cheering like the happiest man ever, and then later he wins the cup. But still,
I'm pretty sure last
on point
night.
here.
I'm pretty sure last night they had the camera real close. I think you could hear PK Subban being like, "Don't touch it."
yeah, I heard,
Oh, yeah.
I heard a few people, "Don't touch it, do not."
So, as we're kind of reminiscing about teams that haven't made it and potential players that could be there, underrated storyline of this year's playoffs.
I was literally about to read this.
Jimmy Vesey left Nashville so that he could repeatedly lose in the first 2 rounds and get scratched for Tanner Glass. Jimmy
That's
Vesey
true.
was Nashville property, and then
And they promised him everything he wanted, a
Yeah.
top 6 role and a contract. That's all you can ask for when you're coming into the league. You haven't played a game. You could have been with James Neal. You could have done it.
or
and you didn't.
Victor Arvidsson, or with Yarncroc. Like he would have been an accent to this team, and they probably would have been even better, and they wouldn't have been such quote unquote dark horses if Jimmy Vesey's there either, or Jimmy Vesey, however you want to pronounce it.
I will say though that if they're gonna win, the cup, the whole thing. Pecorino, he's the reason that they're in the final.
He has a .941 save
He's
percentage,
the reason
and you
that-
look at last night, he had another 40 shots on.
I'm not saying that their team is bad by any means. Like they're a work by committee team, but if he doesn't play as well, I don't think they're in the final.
Well, I remember saying it at the beginning of the playoffs. I
That's
said
my-
if Pecorino gets hot, this team is going to go off. Because that's what they've needed, and he's never been able to put this many great games together. There always seems to be something that falls apart, either with him or with the team in front of him. But you look at how the team plays, and defensively they're so sound. And one of the guys, and I know a lot of people like to criticize him, but one of the guys that's leading that charge is PK Subban. All of the advanced stats point to PK Subban having one of the best series of all time. From zone entries, he has the most zone entries against, but he's the most suppressed shots, most dump-ins, and the most breakups out of anyone else. And the percentage is off the charts, like lower than everybody else on the team. It's insane when you look at his advanced stats to see how well he's doing. He was able to he shut down Ryan Getzlaf, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Jonathan Toews in 3 straight series. Something you could not say that he could do in Montreal. This change of scenery for him has been huge. So the conversation has now shifted from Nashville being probably one of the best cities to ever, one of the best hockey cities, to why didn't PK Subban work in Canada? And that's what I want to know what you guys
You
think.
mean in Montreal? Don't Canada
No,
this.
I don't
because
think it was-
Get out of here.
no, because there are some people that believe that PK Subban would not work in any Canadian market. Darren Dreger being
that's
one of
what
them.
you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay, I
that
thought
he
you were
would not
blaming...
work in any Canadian market because of the media and because of his personality. Maybe not necessarily just the media, but the personality.
I guess.
Well, now that you mentioned like it's the market, then I definitely can see that, because Canadian markets, each Canadian market has at least 2 major news outlets, like newspaper wise, at least 2. Actually, Winnipeg's probably the only one who has the smallest amount, and the Jets players get a lot of heat from every angle.
I was just gonna say, I don't think it's easy to be a hockey player in Canada.
No, but even like Nashville, like who do you got? Like realistically, you have like FS Sports, whatever they are, like their division down there. So you got to do that guy, like or that person, that media person. You have like the Tribune, some other one. You're maybe dealing with like the 4 or 5 same people every day. So if they write a crap article, you could just be like, all right, well, I'm just not going to answer your questions.
It's also easy to say it's working because they're doing so well this year. Give it 2 or 3 years. What if they aren't doing well?
No, but
But
he's still
here's
not
the other
facing-
argument. If he wins this year, all bets are off. Like, you win 1 cup, basically everything's nulled. That's what they were saying with Shea Weber. If Montreal just wins 1 cup with Shea Weber, the trade's a win for Montreal. If they win 1 cup with PK Subban, the trade's a win for Nashville.
Yeah, but what if they lose this final and they don't get back?
Right now, it looks like...
Are you talking like he can't make it personality-wise, or just like his play?
no, personality-wise. That was the big issue
but
with him in Montreal.
But
was
if Montreal was
personality.
in the Stanley Cup Final, I'm sure they wouldn't care about his personality. But when they're not doing well, they're going to bring it out because that's going to be a factor. If Nashville suddenly in the next 5 years doesn't, what if they go on a stumble for the next 5 years? Do you not think they're going to start to question his antics? I guarantee you.
What
they will.
antics does he have? Donating to
I'm
hospitals?
I'm not saying he has antics. I'm saying the media will look for something.
No, but there's not
to
enough
bl-
media for it to
yeah.
gain traction.
I don't
like
think there
if he can
Maybe.
deal with 1 Saturday night, like Hockey Night in Canada a month, and then like maybe like 3 road trips in a year where he comes up to Canada. Other than that, I mean, he's not sure. He's going to get interviewed in every market he's in, of course. But like in Nashville, not like sure. I guess he's one of the faces of the franchise, but it's not as like they don't sit on like. I'm walking myself into a corner of the word I was trying to figure out. Like they don't hang on his every word. Like they're like, oh sure, like here's a defenseman.
But they also
PK
don't
Subban.
break down his plays as big as like pretty much any time somebody would bring up, oh, PK Subban's really good, they'd show him his faults, and they're like, well, if you didn't have a great goalie behind him, regardless of that, it looks like his defensive play has taken a step up this season, and it's not just he's got Carey Price behind him. Maybe that was one of the safety nets that he had before, that he could play a little bit more recklessly and had to learn from that because he was one of the biggest turnover machines at the beginning of the year and has learned from that he can't play that style when he doesn't have Carey Price back there. And he's definitely adapted to it, and he's been one of the best defensemen.
Oh, I think he's been fantastic.
I just don't think.
In regards to
I think
Canada, I
he's got-
totally buy that he probably wouldn't work in any market.
I think he's got a better supporting cast right now than he ever had in Montreal.
Oh, that's true.
And I think that hides, I don't think he's the sole reason that he's definitely a big part, but I'd say Pekka Rinne is a bigger part of why they are where they are.
Oh, no, I'm not saying
No,
it's
but he's just saying, like, based off of, like, just the media, he for sure would work in Winnipeg. Because we're, like, we even get mad when, like, I'll just toss myself into that, like, when people go after Scheifele for, like, they're like, oh, he's not passionate enough, he doesn't give enough in interviews. That's how he is. He's not great in interviews. He's not a good interview. You don't interview Mark Scheifele. If you're going to interview someone on the Jets after a game, you go to Blake Wheeler because he shows you emotion and he's the most he'll break down a game and say everyone sucks. That's probably another reason why they probably gave him the seat.
The reporter
That's
if the guy doesn't ask the question the right way.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Like Scheifele, I haven't seen him call out a reporter yet, but
yeah, but Scheifele's still 23 years old.
Exactly.
That might come.
Yeah, and then you got a player like another character in the room. Obviously, Buff, he doesn't really say much in interviews. Or I was going to use Trouba in my next example, where Trouba, like this year, his exit interview, he's like, "Guys, I'm going to stay in Winnipeg. Like I like Winnipeg." Like he beats. His is just kind of like he laughs about it. Like Scheifele probably laughs about it later on, but he doesn't do it then. He's just because it's his job. He takes it seriously.
Well, you look at
Trouba
Kane
doesn't.
too, right? Kane has a big personality. PK Subban has a big personality. I
think, but the thing is everything about
Kane's.
They have a different type of personality for sure.
Kane was a negative personality.
Yeah.
PK's isn't necessarily negative. He's just
It's a big. He's a big personality.
It's big. He's not afraid to. He's cocky, but I mean he's not afraid to say he thinks he's the best player, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I can see it definitely rubs people the wrong way. But I mean.
So I guess to kind of move on from this.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Does Nashville have a chance without Ryan Johansson? Let's say Mike Fisher doesn't play. Do they have a chance to take down Pittsburgh Penguins or the Ottawa Senators?
If they're playing Ottawa, definitely. If they're playing Pittsburgh, if Rinne plays the same, I think they have a shot.
Well, let's break it down.
I don't think they're the favorite, but I think they have a shot.
Let's break it down this way. If they're playing the Sens are injured, but they're also not really expected to be there. It's going to be an interesting matchup stylistic wise for the Preds for the Sens. I think they match up pretty nicely. Penguins have a depleted forward core, but D-core is what I'm thinking of. Wait, which one?
Because Schultz is hurt, Letang's hurt.
And then the Preds have a depleted forward core, so I think
might balance out.
It's going to balance out. But I think, I'm with them.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh still has Gino and Crosby.
But then you
look at what Nashville did to
Pekka Rinne,
but you look
D-core.
Well, you look what Nashville did to Chicago. You look what
Yeah.
Nashville did to St. Louis, and what they did to Anaheim. Anaheim was the highest scoring playoff team. They made them look they prevented them from scoring a lot.
At the stage of career that Getzlaf and Perry are in, you cannot even compare them to Crosby and Malkin. It's not even close.
Disagree, but okay.
Getzlaf maybe. Perry, he did absolutely nothing.
But Perry doesn't. He's not going to kill you. He can kill you scoring.
Anaheim knows how to piss you off, and they know how to beat you. Not necessarily by skill, they know how to beat you.
Yeah, but that's one thing.
Pittsburgh can just straight out outskill someone if they have to.
Yeah, but that's like there's two taking over a game is like either however you do it skill wise or in someone's head like mentally, it's still taking over a game. Like when Corey Perry's on the ice. Well, look, it's just he was when the Jets were in the playoffs. He got 15,000 people, sold out barn, chanting Katy Perry at him, trying to piss him off. Okay. And when they showed his face, he was like he was like a kid on Christmas. He was smiling
and that's
so
why
much.
I say they're very good at doing that.
So that in that aspect, that's why I think they are. I get your skill wise, but taking over a game's taking over a game, whether it's skill wise or not.
And the guy on Nashville that can take over a game is Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, but
he's the guy that can win them that series.
I think Malkin and Crosby and Getzlaf and Perry are still like I don't want to play either of them in the playoffs, to be honest.
They're comparable, but I think if you're going just straight up skill, Crosby and Malkin is a it's a bit of a different.
Yeah, but they're generational players.
But like I said, Pekka Rinne could be the guy if he stones them. He could be the guy that wins in the cup.
And back for
especially when they're getting their third and fourth line guys on Nashville are getting a lot of their goals right now.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to say about the defensive side.
If they can get depth scoring and Pekka Rinne can stone the Stars on Pittsburgh, I mean, sure they could win.
Well, if I'll I'll go with they're going to have to figure out who PK is going to cover because PK suppresses their best player. So I'm assuming that's Crosby. But then you have to put Ellis and Ekholm, which they'll do just fine, against Malkin. But then after that, I'm taking the third and fourth line of Preds over the third pairing of the Pens and any day of the week. Or the fifth D.
Sure.
Because the other game they played with 5D.
Yeah.
And what they did was, as Don Cherry broke it down, one of the few lessons I learned was they barely touched it. They just set up a guy high on center ice almost and just cleared it up off the boards to him every time. They barely touched it. So if we're doing this, then are we going to talk about the Sens and the Penguin series and then
no.
do picks? Or
No, we're not doing picks today.
We're not hypothetically doing picks.
No.
There's two teams.
No, not today.
That's silly.
No, I want to move on to the Ryan Getzlaf thing that happened where he used
He said a
homophobic
homophobic slur and got fined 10 grand because you
10
can't
grand.
have that in the league.
No, you can't at all, and I totally understand it. Thing is there's also a lot more that goes on to a game than just one homophobic slur. There's probably some pretty disgusting stuff that's said. I've played hockey my entire life. I've reffed hockey. I coach it. I know what's said out there. The thing is to believe that this is the only thing that should. I'm not defending this in any way. I think the league should do more to try to push this out of the league because this does not need to be in it. But there's also a lot of other stuff that's being said as well.
Okay.
In the league, and to single out one thing, it should kind of bring to the table everything that's being said.
But they're trying to get rid of homophobic slurs, so that's
but death threats
why.
are in the game as well, right?
Yeah, but that's just part of the game.
So you're saying that that's part of the game, but not homophobic slurs.
Yeah, because
So
the
I
culture's changing.
Culture's changing, so
Yeah.
I can't use a homophobic slur. But if I say I'm going to drive off a bridge with you in my car tonight,
Well, then at least you're killing yourself with that.
but I'm saying that that's okay, but not a homophobic slur.
I would say that's more accepted in society than a homophobic slur at this point, yeah?
So that sounds ridiculous in my mind. It's
Well-
either all okay or none of it's okay.
But at that point,
Well,
you're just
none of
telling
it's
someone
okay.
to
It's the
kill
point
them.
of where do you step in?
But I'm fine with the league stepping in here, but I think that we should do more. Instead, and honestly, 10 grand is absolutely nothing to Ryan Getzlaf. He's making 50 grand a day in the regular season.
Yeah.
So it was literally like losing $20 if you make $100 a day. That's what it was like for him.
I mean, if they want to set an example, they suspend him for a game.
But they're not going to do that in the playoffs.
I know they're not going to do that in the playoffs because they don't call anything in the playoffs.
But they also shouldn't. They should up the maximum fine that you can get to a little bit more than 10 grand.
Why can't they find a guy like a game?
And
like a game
I think
salary?
the league also needs to do something like, well, they don't get paid in the playoffs, right?
Oh, that's true.
So the league should do something like step up.
Then take what he would make one game during the year and fine him that.
No, I know that's what they should do.
Then the
but-
fine is more. It's more player specific. You're not saying, oh, this guy gets 10 grand. 20 grand to this guy might be a big deal if he's making $600K, but 20 grand to a guy who's making 10 million. Who cares?
But my only argument is I'm not condoning it, but the league needs to do more to push that kind of language out of the game. It's insane that one word causes more controversy than a threat, because I don't use that word. I stay away from that kind of stuff because I don't want to offend people, but I've been the recipient of many death threats on the ice, or ass beatings as well, because people get mad, and then at the end of the game, you shake hands about it and you don't care. But I think some things need to be pushed out of hockey, and I think that overall, just some of the chirping needs to take a step down.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, so this is where they're deciding to start.
And this isn't the first case of it, right?
No.
And it comes...
Brad Marchand in the playoffs last year.
Exactly.
And that was on... That was on national television, so that was a bigger
That
deal.
was Andrew Shaw, wasn't it?
Andrew Shaw, my bad. Yeah, Andrew Shaw.
Yeah, because that guy's a decent human being. Nope.
But I think the league needs to do something more than just say we're going to fine them. They need to do something more, and somebody made a great point. They said fining people is great, putting rainbow tape on your stick is great, but at some point the culture needs to change, and that's where I think...
And that's where suspensions would come into play.
Well, and maybe they need to start doing is it the first time this guy's done this? Is it the second time this guy's done this?
Sensitivity training.
No, but I'm saying if it's the first time, maybe you fine him. If he does it again, you suspend him.
But here's the other thing, is it probably gets said, because I hear it all the time when I play hockey. it's just something that comes out of people's mouths all the time.
Yeah.
And think of really, like, there's the only, like, 3 words that I've never heard on a hockey rink are 3 of the worst words I can think of. Period. Pretty much every other word has been said.
That's because it's universally accepted.
And
the three
at
words you're
what
thinking
point
of.
do these words go to that other side of being just like, you can't say them, just like you can't say those 3 words that I'm thinking of.
Well, that's what, and again, that's what they're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And so you have to start somewhere. And obviously also by, I'm sure it's been said before in, like on the ice, even maybe in this playoffs, but maybe they were just saying like, oh, you know what, Ryan Getzlaf, like he's got some pull. So like in terms of like, he's a captain of a team, it's like they needed a face to kind of start the movement.
Wow.
As weird as that
And they
sounds.
didn't do a very good job of it. All he did was do like a little
I think they
apology
tweeted
after.
about it. Like I didn't even see anything.
no. And
Like I mean, like the
he should do
the
something.
league didn't make a big deal of it
No.
either.
Unlike kind of what happened with Pilar in,
Kevin Pillar, the Toronto Blue Jays.
in the MLB, where they did like a full press conference with him.
Yeah.
And like that was the center topic, and he talked about it and he said how he wants to be set
But the
an
league
example
didn't
of.
even suspend him.
No, the league
team
didn't do
did.
anything. The team, that was all team, but that's
Which is ridiculous. That like if I like I couldn't believe I thought the MLB gave him 2 games when it was the Jays who gave him 2 games, and I thought I was like, oh, they're matching his 2 games. So he's got 4 games. Nope, there was just the Jays who suspended him, and then the league. I think they just like I'm sure they probably just called him or something or fined him.
But I think this needs to be more in the forefront because you can't have that stuff out there, especially on national television. But I just don't think it should be out there on the rink at all. Like, it's going to still be said. You're never going to take it out of people's language. But all I'm saying is, there at some point, I want to see those types of words move to that land of these are the words you just simply can't use. Because there are those words that you just simply don't use.
Yep.
And maybe that's where we need to go. Because I don't think that anyone calls PK Subban that certain word on the ice. I think that's just they'll call it.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, well, people will call it
That's
to them
for
behind
sure.
the mask of Twitter, which is absolutely disgraceful. But
Even though you can find it by just like
yeah,
Which is
doing a
amazing because I
VPN search
guarantee you
and all that
maybe 10 years ago, I guarantee you a lot worse stuff was said. And
players smoked in between periods.
it was just whatever, you know?
well, there's varying degrees of it. You know, like the language was a little bit different then too, and I think that
Was it Joel Ward in the playoffs? Was that in Boston? Where the
Yeah.
fans were
that was the one.
That's
I
when
was
he
talking
scored the
about,
game
yeah.
winner.
using
Yeah,
the slur,
and then Boston used that slur a lot.
yeah. And that's
that was all over
not
Twitter. Yeah, it was disgusting.
You can
Yeah,
be mad
well,
at a guy.
most
You can be
recently
mad that
they-
your team lost. I mean, just don't.
Same city used it on Adam Jones of the Baltimore Orioles. So
Disgusting.
yeah,
But regardless, I don't think the NHL did enough. It was caught on camera. It was clearly a mistake. You don't want this kind of language out there.
Did he say it to the ref or did he say it to the other player?
I don't
don't
actually
know.
know the situation.
Okay.
All
I
I
didn't
know
see
is
it, I just heard
he said it. All I know is that it was caught on camera, clear as day. You have to apologize for it. You have to be the one to set the stage to say, you know, that kind of language doesn't need to be there. And when I was going to Cam about the death threat thing, I just want to know where that line is. Because if we're saying that homophobic slurs are worse than death threats, I think that's something else.
well, no, but they got to start somewhere.
I know.
And also, just because of the society we live in today, like it's more accepted. Well, it's more accepted. It is accepted to be like someone of like gay, lesbian.
Well, of the LGBTQ
exactly
plus community.
And but they're trying to get that language out of it. Like I'm even stumbling over my words, trying to like not get myself in trouble. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
other thing
that's
is too,
where we're
right?
at right now.
is-
So that's where we have to be.
is we're also at a stage where it's very possible that there are players that are LGBT, a part of that community playing in the NHL, just don't know it, and you're saying that word to them, and that might bother them. I don't want to take too much of a social warrior stance on
No,
it,
exactly. But
because I don't normally align myself with that, but I'll say that I believe there needs to be a conversation of what is allowed to be said and what isn't, and I think there's definitely there's some great chirping that can go on. There's great back and forths. There can be great battles, but when you start going in that category of like things that really aren't okay to be said, then like if you go after somebody's religion, I think in hockey that's one of those things. Like if they're devout, of Jewish faith or something like that, I think that's where that you go and attack them for that.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue.
Yeah,
And I don't
usually
think they do that. They normally go off. That's kind of...
No, that was Sean Avery material.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he did his research.
So
I'm definitely reading his book when it comes
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
That comes out in like October. And
Yeah.
I'm buying that.
He's actually writing a book.
On
it's good
on the
to
note of death threats and stuff like that, not to offend anyone, but obviously our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in Manchester because of that horrible incident that should never ever 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 happen. And as I told Cam earlier on the way here, I don't know if the guy, I don't know if it was a suicide bomb, I don't know all my information, but I hope that if he is alive, that everybody gets an opportunity to do something very terrible to him because he deserves everything that is going his way.
I haven't researched
I'm-
it too much. To be
Best
honest.
I can tell, he died.
Yeah, okay, it was a suicide bombing, right?
It was a suicide.
Okay, so he's
bomb.
dead. He murdered children. I'm sorry. Like, I have no...
For
Find the
most
people
part,
who are
children,
doing this.
right? Because it was Ariana
Yeah,
Grande.
it was so it was a lot of under 18
Yeah.
people, right? And then there were, college students and that kind of thing. But, like, it's a horrible thing, and you never want to see it happen. And this just means more security at sporting events, more security at your concerts you're going to. So don't get annoyed if you're, waiting 10 minutes in line to get into the sporting venue. Remember, it's for your safety, because the last thing you want to do is go to a sporting event that you want to go to, or an event you want to go to, and see somebody you know or yourself being carried off in a stretcher because of something bad happening.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Jets actually announced today they're going to have a K9 bomb unit.
Yeah.
At the games this year.
Good.
Oh, at the games even.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, because I know I'm at a concert on Friday and they had mentioned.
Even probably just events, I would imagine, but
Yeah.
they're going to have a K9 bomb unit there. Which, you know what? You can't be too careful.
No. Like I said, I'd rather go to my sporting events and feel safe and make sure that there's no sense of me feeling anything but heartbreak at my sporting events. That's all I want. I just want heartbreak. I don't want to have the impending thought of potential doom.
No.
But yes, like I said, obviously all of us think the same way. If you're somebody from Manchester and know somebody there, our hearts and prayers are with you. Moving on, however, Pittsburgh Penguins, Ottawa Senators, who are probably part of the most boring series ever.
Worst conference final based off like entertainment value since I
Has
can
it been
remember.
that bad?
Since I can remember watching hockey.
I only
yes.
watched like half of game one.
The only game I watched was Game 4, I believe, when Ottawa tried to come back late, and they looked like they were playing a little bit better. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Ottawa just doesn't. They just play a more relaxed style, and Pittsburgh just plays such a run and gun. It's just like the styles don't match up well against each other for whatever reason.
Is it partially the team? Like, I mean, I
don't know.
I name one person that said Ottawa would be in the conference final this year.
I don't know. I feel like
The
you might
only
have said it
person
in
would have
passing.
been you.
Yeah.
I think.
Outside of Ottawa, right? Like,
Brian Murray.
Like,
Oh, no, outside. Dang it.
Like, people can connect with Nashville because of what's going on with the fans and the small market, how passionate they are, right? But no one, like, Ottawa,
They can't even sell out a conference final game.
They can't even market
The
Ottawa.
owner of the team had to tweet last night to get them to go to the game that is tonight.
They can't even market them as Canada's team. Normally, right now, if there's a Canadian team in the playoffs, everyone's 100% behind them. But honestly, no one really
Even the
However,
the
I
last
believe,
time a Canadian team was in the final, Vancouver, the country was crazy.
except I was cheering for Boston.
I'm just saying
I
though,
was cheering for Boston
There
and I
was-
didn't have windows on my house.
there was a big time buzz. This,
I'm not kidding.
you wouldn't even know they're in the final. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know if you didn't go on social media or didn't watch the game. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, even
Because there's no excitement around this team. There's nothing that pulls you in. The only guy that I believe pulls me in, there's two people who pull me into the series that make me want to watch it on the Ottawa side, and that's Erik Karlsson and Craig Anderson, but Craig Anderson more for the storyline.
and
The
even
feel-good
if we're
story.
even talking about storyline, like Clark MacArthur a little bit, I guess, based off of
Yeah. Well, I love
But
Clark MacArthur
what I'm
because of
saying
his
is-
play with the Leafs.
Eric. Oh yeah, King MacArthur. But like with Erik Karlsson, even like he's playing out of his mind, but he's also playing at probably like
60%.
60 to
maybe.
70% of what he's fully capable
best.
because his
At
whole
best.
body's broken.
Yeah. So there's not much to pull me in. And like last year, obviously I wanted Washington to win last year as well as I wanted them to win this year. But at least last year with Pittsburgh, I was like, I want to see Phil Kessel win a Stanley Cup. He has a cup. I'm sick of Pittsburgh. I cannot imagine what NBA fans are going through right now. The fact that Golden State's in the final again after going 12-0 so far. They haven't lost yet in the playoffs.
They have the actual. This will be because once the Cavs win their series,
Yeah.
they're not losing it.
No.
Once the Cavs win, it'll be the exact same final 3 years in a row.
Is that
Now,
not the most boring thing
Let me
ever?
tell you about the 08-09 final. I didn't watch it in 08, and I definitely didn't watch it in 09. So why would they watch it again being a fan? Oh, it's ridiculous.
NHL.
Like I'm
No, but
okay.
for-
I'm okay for one team who wants to go on that kind of like going back every time. Like when Boston went back in 2013 and played. You know, I cheered for Boston when they beat Vancouver in 2011. Then I cheered for Chicago to beat Boston because Boston beat Toronto in 2013. Cheered for, I cheered for Tampa when Chicago went again. But it's one of those things where it's nice when you get some variation and some parity in the league, and there's none in the NBA. So I'll take Pittsburgh versus Ottawa over what's happening in the NBA right now because it's not entertaining, it's boring, and it's bad.
I think if
and
you're
it's bad for the sport.
If you're an outside viewer, like say you're watching two teams that you don't normally watch, if it's year after year, you're like, I'm sick of this. But if the Leafs are in the Stanley Cup Final 3 years in a row, you're a Leafs fan, you're going to be loving it.
Well, yeah, and obviously
You know what I
Cavs
mean?
fans and Warriors fans are very happy about
But
that.
I definitely get it.
When you think of the sport as a whole, and you think of it as what it needs to be, is you need the parity and you need the variation for it to grow. Because with Nashville now, you're going to have kids that are growing up and they're watching, their first players they're watching are going to be the PK Subans, the Ryan Johanssons. They're going to grow up watching Nashville now. They're going to be Nashville fans because that's
They're
who
going
is
to have
popular.
their own Austin Matthews to Shane Doan.
Well, no, but think about this, right? When we were growing up, the teams that were prevalent on TV all the time were the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Washington Capitals. So a lot of kids younger than us are Pittsburgh and Washington fans. Now, if Nashville breaks through, it's going to be Nashville fans. There's going to be more Tampa Bay fans because they're only going to continue to get better because they have just everybody in the Memorial Cup right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And that's what's good for the game. So now what you're going to have in the NBA is you're going to have all these kids that are growing up to be either Warriors fans or Cavs fans, and that's it. But back when we were kids, it was Lakers, and that was basically. But
And then before that, the Bulls.
yeah,
There's a lot more parity in the NBA than there is in the NHL. So that's
there's a lot more parity in the NHL than the NBA.
Parity means variety?
Yes,
Yes, I learned that today.
yeah. So there's a lot more variety in the NHL, which I very much like, and I'll take this series over anything else. The question I actually have for Cameron is: Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final is slated for Monday. So
The 29th.
The 29th. So that's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What else is Monday?
Probably the NBA final.
What happens on Sunday?
What do you mean?
What happens on Sunday?
What's on Sunday?
Memorial Cup Final.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So in all reality, let's say that Ottawa wins the next 2 games. Does Thomas Chabot go and play for... Because most likely St. John Sea Dogs aren't moving to the final, but let's just say, does Thomas Chabot end up on the Ottawa Senators if Ottawa makes it to the Stanley Cup Final?
There's got to be a rule against that. I don't think that's happened in quite some time.
But what if?
What if a guy...
Can
a kid who's
he-
been playing 40
do you
minutes
know-
a game
Do you
for the
know if
last
he can?
month?
Well, he just played 13 minutes in the first period tonight. 13!
Are you allowed to add someone to your roster that late?
Yeah, you can add people.
But then it'll burn
they
a
already
year of his
tried.
contract.
Is
They
he
already
on an
tried.
entry level deal?
No playoffs
They'll
don't
just-
count as entry level deal because Subban his first year, I don't think it counted.
Well, and
I could be wrong about it.
Well, they're
Matt
playing
Murray
tonight.
too,
If
right?
St. John's loses tonight, we'll
They're
get to
out.
that next. They're out. He could
Yeah.
play Game 7.
Yeah. So if they can bring him, I thought maybe you know. I don't know that. Because I already know they
I can't
tried
give
to
you
get
a
him for the
straight
playoffs.
answer to that one. I feel like there's a rule against it, but that'd be awesome if they did because, I mean, they could certainly use his help.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. But and we'll talk about the Memorial Cup towards the end of the show. But just kind of to finish up with the Eastern Conference, what do we like? Obviously, we all agree that Pittsburgh should win this. So if it's Pittsburgh Nashville, who do you want in the final? Like, who are you taking?
Are we doing our preemptive?
We're doing our
preemptively.
you
This
went
isn't
back on your
concrete.
word.
No,
I didn't
no.
want to. I
We'll
didn't want to
do
tease it.
this is preemptively. What the tweet will make it official. Okay, I think we're all in the we want Nashville to win, but I'm going heel. Pittsburgh in 6. Why? Straight out of Compton, baby. I forgot Mark Streit was on the team until they played him. I want
If
him
it's
to win.
Pittsburgh Nashville, Pittsburgh in 7.
You guys just don't believe.
No, I want
Nashville in...
But you were about to say 5, you
You're gonna say
monster.
4.
Look at his lips.
No,
You said 5.
I did say 5. But
It's
it's
out
not
of your
going to be
mouth.
5.
You can't take it back.
No. 6. They're going to win in 6.
Nash in 6?
Nashville in
Okay,
6.
like
No, but
No,
see,
Nashville in 7.
We
Sorry.
bet food,
Nashville in
so like
7.
technically money's at hand here.
We
And I've
won-
never won the final, okay? I never have to.
Yeah,
I've
so
never had to pay.
Nashville in
I always
7.
got to pay for that stupid, delicious Chinese food.
Nashville in 7.
I will
That's
say
what I'm
this
going
right
with.
now,
That's what I'm going with.
and I'm confident in this pick.
Okay.
If Nashville plays Ottawa, sweep Nashville.
I'll say Nashville in 5.
That's my pick.
I'm down with
Nashville-
I'm
No,
with-
sweep. They're winning it at home.
they
damn.
would be at home. No, because you always win on the road.
No,
you always
sweet.
win on the road.
No, the Kings ruined
Well,
that.
and the Ducks did.
I'll
too.
take 'em in
And
4.
Chicago.
Wait. Nashville would have not home ice.
They would be games.
These aren't
3,
final
4.
picks, are they?
No.
No.
These are
The
just-
tweet
I'm
will
just
be
saying,
official.
I can see if it's Nashville, Ottawa. I can see them sweeping it. I just don't. I don't think Ottawa.
No, Central
Nash-
pull one out for sure.
Nashville, I have Nashville in 7 if they play Pittsburgh.
Guys,
and
no one
Nashville
ever
in
picks a
5
sweep. Give me
if
some
Ottawa.
credit here.
Yeah, good for you. You're picking a sweep.
No
Should've
one
picked
ever-
that
Oh
with
wait, if we're
Chicago.
hypothetically, okay, wait, we'll go around the table one more time.
Hypothetical.
Okay, Sens, Preds, go.
5.
Preds in 5.
Yeah.
Preds in 4.
I got Preds in 5. I'll give Sens a game.
Yeah.
Okay, now Pens, Preds.
Yeah.
I got Pens in 6.
Pens in 7.
And I have Preds in 7.
So you're Preds either way.
I'm Preds.
Dude,
I'm-
in
I
my
am
heart,
voting
I want Preds so bad.
No,
but
because
I'm tired of paying for that Chinese food
I'm
because it's
sick.
delicious.
I want parity in the NHL, and I want the next generation of kids to grow up idolizing Ryan Ellis and that beautiful beard.
See, here's the difference. Greg just admitted he's picking with his heart. I'm picking with my head.
I'm
I
picking
want
with my
Nashville
head.
to win too.
No.
I don't want Pittsburgh to win.
Heart and head. There's no better defensive team.
They've never been in a final before.
I don't care. The last
that
thing,
doesn't matter at this
The
point.
last thing I want to move
They're
on
just playing
to.
hockey.
It most certainly does. When the LA Kings made it to the final in 2012, they were playing New Jersey.
Yeah.
New Jersey. Of course they're going to shit kick them. They're fucking playing Pittsburgh if they make it to the final. That's different.
Yeah, but it's a broken Pittsburgh.
All right.
Also a broken Preds.
It's a broken Nashville.
It's a broken-
Their top 2 centers aren't playing.
Wait, hold on.
You think they can beat Pittsburgh in a 7-game series without their top 2 centers?
Yes.
I don't know
No,
about that, man.
dude.
Regard, I'm
Ken and
going
I
with
are
them.
totally on board with this one.
I want them to. I'm just saying.
So the last thing I'm going to bring up, obviously, is the very interesting goalie controversy that's happening in Pittsburgh because Marc-Andre Fleury in Game 3 had kind of a shitty game, to say the least.
What was the score?
I think it was 5-0.
5-1.
5-2, I think it was final. 5-2 final.
5-2, Jesus.
So Murray comes in, then Murray plays Game 4. They win Game 4. Murray plays Game 5. He gets shut out in Game 5. Or I think gets shut out, regardless.
He got a shutout game. Yeah, 5.
Game 5. So
Oh, the score in game 5 was 7-0.
yeah. So we're now here in Game 6, and Murray's in net still. Why was Fleury's leash so short?
I think they were waiting for him to slip up the whole time.
Because he was the only reason he was ever playing is because Murray got hurt. Murray
And Murray had
Murray
beaten
was
him.
the guy they wanted. So I
feel
think
like that's such a shitty thing to do. Like, there's no way he's staying there. He's probably going to get bought out, which will mean he's a free agent. They're going to buy him out before they have to protect him because they
I think
do
they're
not
going to
want.
try and trade him before the expansion draft.
Yes, but worst case scenario, they'll buy him out before the expansion draft because they don't want to just give him away to Vegas at this point because that's where he's going to end up. He'll end up in Vegas. It's very. I feel like it's very just. He was the reason why they beat Washington in a few of those games. And you're just saying, nope, you got us this far. We're going to turn our back on you right away. Like, that is just so shitty. And obviously, I know there's got to be a reason for it.
But here's the thing: this series record with him in the net 1-2, record with him out of the net 2-0.
But why? Okay, so let's say this. He's 1-2 in the first 3 games. Why do you not go to him for Game 4? Is one game all you're going to give a guy because he got shelled in one game?
Well,
I think they should
have rid him as far as they can
because
because
it's 5-0. That's not on just the goalie. That's on the team around him.
well, and
Maybe this charges the team.
Ottawa
I don't
got
know,
beat
but-
7-0. Craig Anderson's still playing this game.
Yeah. Well, the
Granted-
other option is Mike
Granted,
Condon,
their
I was
goaltending, their
about to
situation's
ask
a
you-
bit different.
I was about to ask you who the backup was, so.
which also gets me to the last point. Matt O'Connor just never going to play.
Okay, well, your guys' confidence in Mike Condon makes me worried because that's the guy a lot of people think the Jets are going to go after. So that makes me worried.
I've heard the new one.
No.
The new one is Steve Mason. Because we're going to lose Mike Hutchinson, so
Guys?
everybody wants the other left.
Why are we going
Going on record right
Hutchinson
now.
getting picked up in the expansion?
No, but we'll get rid of him because
got
we
a
want
year
Steve
left.
Mason.
I'm going on record right now. What day is it today? May 23rd?
May 23rd.
May 23rd, 2017.
Yeah.
If the Jets get Mason, Jets fans, he's going to play some good games. He's going to have way more bad games.
Oh yeah.
His good games will give you a lot of hope. And then he's going to rip your goddamn heart out in like 4 shots the next game. Trust me.
Actually,
it's
an
happening.
interesting name. I was reading an article today about 5 potential candidates for them to go
Jonathan
after.
Bernier.
Bernier was on there.
Oh, no!
This was
No!
this was written last week.
Okay.
Bernier,
It's fresh.
Fleury was on there.
'Kay.
Elliott was on there, who I'm on the fence about. Who else was on there? Condon was on there, and then Antti Ranta, which
Yeah.
I think is interesting.
Antti Ranta has definitely come up more.
Because
and more
that's
now.
interesting. Because this article basically said he could be the next Cam Talbot or Martin Jones. Guy that's been a backup that if he gets a starting job could just...
Well, he was in Nashville and then went to New York.
he was in Chicago.
He was
So,
in Chicago, but he was
just-
also in Nashville before that.
Was he?
Just since we're on this, are we just fully
Okay,
accepting that Hellebuck is like for sure auto backup for the next like 3
No, he's not
years
on
at this
backup.
point?
He's 1B.
No, I think...
Oh, then Mason will fit in great. He
I
loves
think
those.
even if they get Ranta, I think Hellebuck could still be the starter.
Yeah.
And then depending how it goes, they
See,
have an option to flip.
any of the goalies that you just named.
And Antti
The
Ranta
only-
actually had a very good year this year.
The only one that I buy, would
I can
be
see
willing-
Vegas picking him up, though.
The only one that I
Philip Grubauer's going there.
okay, the only
Sorry, I was wrong. It was only Chicago that he played for. Chicago and New York.
Condon
My bad.
and Ranta are the only 2 goalies out of the 5 that you named that I buy are willing to go to a 1A 1B system. Condon because not Condon.
I can
who's
see
that,
Brian
Connor?
Elliott trying to redeem himself.
Was it Condon?
No, Condon was who Dan
Yeah,
said.
okay, can Condon and Ranta because they've both done it before, but then maybe they want change. Like, why
Yeah,
would
but
they...
Brian Elliott just had a rough playoff. He'll be looking for a chance to redeem himself. He's an older guy. You might not get a lot of looks elsewhere. Fleury is going to be... they're going to have to
Well, you do 40,
entice him pretty hard to get him.
45 and like 45-37 split there. You give the one guy 45 games, give Hellebuck 37.
I see you split him even for the and then if you're in the hunt towards the end of the year, you just ride the hot guy down the stretch.
Yeah.
Do you give Hellebuck 37 games? Any reason behind that?
No, that's only
He
because
wears 37.
No,
That's
because I wanted the 45 games for the other goalie.
Oh, yeah.
So
that makes sense.
then when you come here, you're going to start 45 to 50 games. And then Hellebuck will get 32 to 37 games.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on now. Canada played for the gold medal against Sweden in the World Hockey Championships. But before that, they had to play Germany in the quarterfinal game, which I would like to bet might have been one of the best hockey atmospheres I've ever witnessed, because the game was in Germany. Leon Draisaitl came back to play for Germany, and they had a standing room only section behind Canada's net for 2 periods, so in Germany's attacking zone for 2 periods, and they just jumped around and chanted for the entire game. And they made it close. And they made it close. It was 2-1 final, right?
Yep.
And then Canada goes, they play Russia. Russia's up 2-0 going to 3rd period. Like a minute in, Scheifele scores. Just everything starts going into high gear. They score 3 more, so they scored 4 unanswered goals in the 3rd period to go to the gold medal game to play Sweden, where 1-1 going into overtime. Nothing solved there, so we have to go to a shootout for the 2nd straight time in a men's international tournament
In this year.
Yeah, for this year for Canada. They are deciding it by shootout. If you thought Canadian fans hated it for the World Juniors, Canadian fans hated it even more at the World Championships. It is the dumbest way to win a
Hey,
championship.
Greg, don't come at me and don't come to my tournament if you don't expect to have some skill in a skills competition.
Yeah,
okay?
sorry. Yeah. It's
Pick
like
the right guys, all right?
Sorry, it's like if the gold medal for the NBA was brought, or gold medal, sorry, not for the NBA, but for basketball in the Olympics was down to who can make the most free 3-point shots, and everyone's like, "Okay, Steph Curry."
There you go. Have your guy.
No,
have your ace in the
no,
pocket.
no.
You just answered your own question.
It
have
should-
your ace in
No,
the, have your
no,
ace up the
no.
sleeve.
The
No,
shootout
it's-
should never be used in a playoff or medal game ever.
No.
Period. End of story. There's no argument. It should never be used.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Well, we have a TV on in the
Holy
background.
shit.
The St. John Sea Dogs beat the Seattle Thunderbirds 7-0.
And that's after, well, we'll get to the
That
Memorial Cup
officially
later.
eliminates
It's-
Seattle.
We'll get to the Memorial
Okay,
Cup
no,
after.
but back to our angry argument here about shootouts. You answered your own question. You better have Steph Curry. Yeah, he's going to be on the team. Guess what? You bring an ace in
You're
your
still
pocket.
bringing Steph
Have a
Curry on
shootout.
any team.
Have a shootout, dude. Have
No,
like 3 guys.
no.
Pocket.
Let me ask you this. If
Go.
the Flyers lost the Stanley Cup in a shootout, how would you feel?
I would be upset, but guess what? They're not great at shootouts. That's why none of them shot in the
You know
shootout.
who
There
would
was
also
4
be
guys
terrible?
on the team.
You know who will also be terrible at shootouts? New Jersey Devils.
No, they're surprisingly
No, they
decent.
probably win.
Didn't they go 23 straight times though winning?
Yeah, know who broke their streak? The
Philadelphia.
Flyers! It happens. The Flyers have the worst shootout percentage since it started.
Regardless, even though Sweden won gold and you watched William Nylander tackle Henrik Lundqvist, because that was William Nylander being like, I'm making sure you don't play next
That's
season.
bagels right there.
Yeah, but that was the real winner is William Nylander because he got the player of the tournament for Sweden.
7 goals, 7 assists in 10 games.
Yeah. That's pretty outstanding. That's 14 points in 10 games.
Let's keep on the Leafs like lathering on how beautiful they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so last
And
year
top
Memorial Cup,
top 3 players of the tournament for Canada were Ryan O'Reilly, Mark Scheifele, and Mitch Marner. Another Leaf.
all tournament
Like
team
points
here.
wise or what?
That
Nylander,
was their top 3. That was
Panarin,
their
McKinnon, and someone else beat Nylander in the amount of points they had.
Oh, okay.
But Nylander, they said his impact in the games were greater.
Didn't he also miss a cut? No, he didn't miss it.
He would have he played every game.
Okay.
All tournament team was William Nylander, Nathan McKinnon, Artemi Panarin, Colton Parayko, which is crazy, only played 4 games. Dennis Seidenberg and Andrei Vasilevsky. What was I going to say about this? You're talking about William Nylander. Oh yeah, who was the 2016 Memorial Cup MVP last year?
Mitch Marner,
Oh, who's the World Championship MVP this year?
William Nylander,
Who's going to be the Rookie of the Year this year?
Austin Matthews.
Future's bright.
It's pretty damn good.
Future's bright.
Regardless of
And
that,
I just want to say, we also found out today. I don't want to. Dan's already checking out here. We got to keep him in the conversation.
Ugh.
Dan, did you see the picture of time traveler Patrick Laine today? I'm gonna
Time
tweet it.
traveling line? I know.
yeah, with the Africa Cup.
It's terrifying.
As Cam's saying this, I'm going to say who the real winner of the World Championships were. The real winner of the IHF World Hockey Championships this year were the Colorado Avalanche. Why? Because every one of their players was here. You had Matt Duchene, you had Tyson Barrie, you had JT
Whoa,
Compher.
how dare you bring up Tyson the Boozer Barry? Okay, he hurt his.
I know he did.
Yeah, backyard wrestling.
JT Compher.
Yep.
They had Soderberg, Gabriel Landeskog, who, how did he celebrate his gold medal? In a hot tub in full equipment. He jumped into a hot tub
That
after the
can't be
game.
comfortable.
With full equipment on.
That, you know what? Come to think of it,
And they
that's
had-
totally doable. You
and
wouldn't
they had-
even ruin your. The only piece of equipment you would possibly ruin would be your skate blades.
Yeah.
Everything
But
else is
it's
just getting
also,
Even then, you'd probably be okay.
Well, he's Gabriel Landeskog, so he gets it for free.
Doesn't
and you also had Picard and Net for Canada. Then you had Zadorov for Russia. I believe Grigorenko played. Long list of players for
It's not
Colorado.
hard to have
But
that
what-
many guys
Yeah,
when your team
hold
wins
on.
18
So
games.
clearly there's enough talent there for them to have more than 50 points next season. That's all I'm saying. The big winner is they got some experience in the offseason. And I think that what was the stat I read? I think it was either Nashville. I think Nashville has more wins in the playoffs right now than Colorado did from from February 24th to the end of the season.
Well, think about it this way.
Something like that.
The team that wins the Stanley Cup
Yeah.
will have won 6 less games than the Avalanche won all year
Yeah, there you go.
in the playoffs.
That's all you need to.
Yeah,
That's
6.
all you need to know.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure it out here. We have another Nikki B situation on our hands with the Colorado Avalanche.
So if they get over 60 points next season,
Who had the most amount of points on the Colorado Avalanche?
Nathan McKinnon,
How many did he have this year?
49.
47.
No, are we guessing? I don't know.
Oh.
I'm trying to pull her up right now. Hold
Oh.
on. It's just going a
So
little
So we
slow.
don't
I'm
actually
gonna say
know.
58.
Hurry up, Cam, or I'm going to look it up first.
You'll probably beat me to it, to be honest. Oh, there we go. Summary. Boom. Okay.
Go to Hockey DB.
Okay, no, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, what's your guess and who?
Nathan McKinnon,
Okay.
52.
McKinnon, 58.
Oh. It was 53.
So
Dan
Price is Right rules. I said 52.
I went over.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Price is Right.
And he said 58, so 52 is closer
Yeah,
to 53.
I don't know Price is Right rules. I was about to say. Okay.
No, that's just closer rules.
So
That's how
That's just
numbers
common
work.
sense. It's just common
What's
sense.
closer to 53?
No, I
52
don't want
or
to go
58?
over. Get out of here. What we're gonna do? It's on me. Treats a pizza.
Oh,
When Nathan McKinnon, and it's only gonna be. I'm keeping this to Nathan McKinnon. When Nathan
60.
McKinnon says 54 points.
yeah.
Treats a pizza on me. You did great, Nate. On me.
How many pizzas do we
We each owe one treats
We
a
have,
pizza
like, three
for.
coming.
No, but that's summertime
I'm getting
special.
treats at pizza.
What are we
and
doing
I'm
for
putting-
round 2 prize?
We're all eating a
It's been 2
salad.
goddamn
we
weeks
tied.
now.
We tied. We're all eating a salad. Dude, we can't celebrate.
By the
our
way, the
tie.
treats
salad
at
from
pizza that I'm
George's.
getting
Fine.
is going to say you're fired on it. I wish it was a Blizzard cake because then I just put Donald
Well,
Trump
didn't
on it.
we
That's
already
it.
decide what we were writing? Yeah. I got up in the Memco. You said au revoir.
Au revoir.
And Dan's got Stone Cold for Stone Cold Mark Stone.
But to quickly move on here because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
Moving to the Memorial Cup, obviously it is in Windsor, Ontario this year, so that is the CHL Championship where each of the 3 divisions of the CHL, each winner plays against the host city. So you've got the QMJHL representative, St. John Sea Dogs, the OHL representative, Erie Otters, and the WHL representative, the Seattle Soundbirds.
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. I don't know why I said
Soundbirds.
Soundbird sounds awesome.
That's cool.
No, and that would play into their like
The
musical
Sounders.
history.
And the Sounders that are the Seattle soccer team.
The sound of
What's a
birds.
sounder?
I don't know.
I know what a sound bird is.
And
but
then obviously the host team is the Windsor Spitfires, who were so,
they got knocked out in the first round of OHL playoffs.
and they are looking pretty damn good right now.
Okay, I'll just say there's a game a day played until
Yeah.
everyone's played. So day 1, Spitfires took on St. John Sea Dogs. They beat them 3-2.
Yep.
Then Erie played Seattle, beat them 4-2. And then Erie played St. John Sea Dogs last night and
Yeah.
won 12-5.
Yeah.
And Dylan Strome set a record for most points in a single game ever, all time.
With 8?
7 points,
7.
4 goals, 3 assists. And the Radish brothers, being Taylor Radish and Darren Radish, Taylor and Darren, they combined for 10 points, so most points in a game by brothers, which is probably going to be pretty hard to beat. And then tonight we just found out win or go home. That's usually a game, each
At some
team's
point.
last game at some point. And the St. John Sea Dogs beat Seattle 7-0. So Seattle's first appearance in the Memorial Cup ends in no wins.
So 0-3.
0.
So that means St. John Sea Dogs are 1-2,
St. John Sea Dogs are 1-2.
and both the Spitfires and Erie Otters are 2-0.
Correct.
And they are leading into a game tomorrow to see who gets a bye to the final, right?
Correct. And then the loser plays St. John in the semifinal.
And then the winner of that plays.
And now if I
Now, I think the
Go.
way to do this tournament differently is every team gets a playoff game. So you got to go through the gauntlet. So if right now, like Seattle, sure their round robin's done, but now they get to play the next lowest seed. So St. John again. So it'd be Seattle, St. John. Then St. John would go on and take, let's say, Erie beats Windsor. So then St. John would take on Windsor.
Oh, you're
And
talking
then they
about
go
like
through
A
the
side,
gauntlet.
B side, like double
Yeah.
knockout?
No, not double
Single
knockout.
knockout.
Single knockout, but you just have to play an extra playoff game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
But
I'm sure
regardless.
they probably thought of it. If you asked me a week ago before the tournament started, if I thought Seattle wasn't going to win a game, I would have laughed at you for sure because they were dominant in their WHL run. Well, not dominant, but like the way that they played special teams is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
it's-
I definitely would have picked the Spitfires to be gone first.
Yeah.
But apparently,
Sure.
over 60 days or like 50 days off, it will do you wonders when you're playing teams that have just been playing for 2 months.
The other thing too is like Seattle, their top 5 scorers in the WHL playoffs. I think in the WHL playoffs combined for something like 30 points in like their final round, like the last round against the Pats, and just so far in the Memorial Cup, I think totaled 5
Well, yeah, I mean,
from
they're-
like Barzell, Bear, and then
Keegan
the other guys.
Kolazar.
Yeah,
That was a winner.
but no, there was 5 of them.
oh, yeah,
And like
okay.
they tallied something like 30 points through that last series against Regina, and then I think they had a total of 6 points through, and that's going to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
And then they get shut out again by St. John's.
I think you're going to see a preview of the final tomorrow with Windsor and Erie. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any way that anyone stops Erie for sure. Windsor's a toss-up, but Windsor...
Unless Thomas Chabot plays all the minutes defensively, goes out for 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Just dominates.
There's only one Jets prospect off the top of my
Logan
head.
Stanley.
Logan Stanley with the Windsor Spitfires.
Yeah.
The only downside, I've had a few conversations with, just a few people. Logan Stanley is getting turnstiled in the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
So, could work on his footwork, but I mean, that's a knock on most big guys, so I'm not going to hold it
but he's
against
supposed
him.
to be like 2 or 3 years away, anyways.
Oh, for sure. But obviously, any big guy, what they say is they're slow.
Did we talk
for the most
about
part.
the
He's
Jets?
6'7".
The Jets signed. Did we talk about that
Sammy
last week?
Nico last week. I don't know if we mentioned it, but yeah, they did sign Finnish defenseman.
fifth round pick a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
2015.
Sammy Nico.
I'd rather talk about the Leafs signing Cal Rosen, but that's fine.
Who's Kalle Rosen?
Who are the Leafs?
Swedish player.
Who are the Leafs? Yeah, right.
Swedish player. Prospect.
He was a
Should do
rookie
well.
of Swedish League.
Yeah. He's a pretty good player.
Flyers have not signed anyone to my knowledge.
No, they don't need to,
There's
Cameron.
no one to sign.
Because they're too busy trying to get rid of that second pick away.
Are they?
No.
They're
I just have a really gross feeling that they're going to trade it away for some reason. But it'll
To
blow me
who?
up. Colorado for Nathan McKinnon.
That's not happening.
A man can dream, Grigory.
That might happen.
You'd have to give up Wayne Simmons.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
It's straight for trade.
No,
for trade.
it wouldn't be trade
Piece
for
of
trade.
piece.
No.
Piece of piece.
Give up Jakey Voracek for it.
No.
I'd be okay with that. That's a big old contract, dude. That's a big boy.
What was it, 7x7?
7 by 8.25.
Did he have a down year?
What?
Did he have a down year?
You mean he had one good year in his contract year? Yeah, dude.
One of those.
I hear a lot of players do that.
What? Have
Have
contract years in their last year? Yeah, it's worked out pretty good.
So
Pretty good.
next week, we probably only have 2 podcasts left. We've got 4 podcasts left until there's nothing to talk about for the entire summer.
And then there's a lot of speculation.
Yeah, lots of speculation
No.
happens.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So next podcast we'll talk about the Cup final. Podcast after that we'll talk about who won, but more importantly,
Actually,
Las
no, we
Vegas,
won't be able to. We could say, because hold on here. I know.
the Las Vegas Golden Knight final.
Oh, that's
All
gonna be
right, we'll be able to talk about that draft. Then we'll talk about the real draft on our 3-year anniversary, and then talk about free agency. Those are the next 4 podcasts.
Well, here's the next tier. Hey, someone pull up a calendar here.
Not fine.
Okay,
You'll
game
run
1
my
is
life.
on Monday.
Yeah.
2 is Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 31st.
It always goes Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, right?
No, game
Oh.
7's Wednesday, June 14th.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday,
They're-
Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
They're dragging
Monday,
that out.
Wait,
2.5 weeks.
Monday,
No, really?
Monday.
What is it? 29th, 31st?
Game 6 will be Sunday, June 11th.
Oh,
so
really?
we're hoping for 6 games so that we get 3 podcasts of speculation on the Cup final. But the tweet will make it official. I'll tweet our official picks to make it
So
official.
for June, the expansion draft is the 21st, right?
Yeah, for June
And
it's the 21st, and then we have the
real draft,
23rd.
23rd.
So
And then we'll have another week after that. So we'll,
And then
Sweet.
free agency, and then nothing.
we'll figure out what we're gonna do with that. But
I'm just saying, there's season's winding down at this point.
yeah, always is.
Although you know who's not going away is the Ottawa Senators.
Tell them the score right now, and then we'll send us home.
2-1 right now, Ottawa.
Okay, how much time we got?
I don't know
About
because
15
the ticker's not
About
up.
15 minutes, maybe?
So which means we're going to sit down, we're going to order a pizza, and we're going to watch the rest of this game.
Yeah.
So hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you did,
Okay.
be sure to check us out on Twitter at Last Minute Podcast. If you want to email the show, lastminutepc@gmail.com is how you do it. If you want to check out our YouTube Last Minute Podcast in that YouTube search bar, and then you can also comment on the show there on our YouTube page. If you want to take the show on the go with you, you can download it through either Apple iTunes or through Google Play, wherever you get your podcast. Just look up Last Minute Podcast. That's how you get it. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, see you later.